who do y'all think is to blame for Taylor Jenkins getting fired? Is it the player's fault, the front office fault, or is it the coaching? Is it the coach's fault?
I think because again, we've been asking for Taylor Jenkins to be gone, or at least for him to be better for the better part of 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be hard for us to put, even though I just said what I just said about Kleiman, he still at one point gave him a pretty good chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
And we still question his Taylor Jenkins rotations. We've questioned his minutes. We've questioned, we got players that should or should not be injured at times that they should or should not be injured. I put quotes around there for people not watching. But at the end of the day, Taylor Jenkins got to look himself and say, could I have been better? And the answer is hell yeah, I could have been better. So the answer for that is Taylor Jenkins himself.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with your take that it is Taylor Jenkins. And I'll try to wrap this up really quickly. I'm a defensive minded head coach. Defense is what I preach. So my assistants need to be offensive minded because I need to hear from you what's going to work on this inbounds play offensively. But if we switch in this defense, oh, I got this. Don't worry about this. So you need to, as a coach, understand your weaknesses and have your staff build you up for those weaknesses. Nobody talks about Ty Lue's deficiencies because he has other people on that bench helping him out. Former head coaches, Jeff Van Gundy and such. Somebody's got an incredible staff. I can't remember who that was, but they have 2 championship coaches as assistants. So you just have to build what's around you. Hey, listen, I'm not good at
Steve Kerr had Kenny Atkinson and Mike Woodson, and all the other coaches on the roster.
Come on, you feel me? Mike Brown. He said he knew what he needed, so he got what he needed. That's it.
And real quick, Savage, before we move on, my biggest fear for this Grizz team, as the Grizz father I am, who say stuff that end up coming true, and with us being the low budget podcast that we are, even though we're going to be around for a long time, my biggest fear for the Grizz is for me to come in around this time next year and ask for a hard reset, get rid of everybody, shut everybody down, get rid of everybody. That's my biggest fear, and I can see it happening. But again, I'm gonna say stay tuned. Again around this time next year, we'll know. But my biggest fear is coming on this podcast and saying, just everybody shut it down, everybody gone, get rid of everybody.
Go ahead, Shady. You got something to say?
Nah, that was a fair. Nah, that was it. I am.
Okay. Sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and get y'all ready now. Is somebody's gone?
Yeah.
This summer. One of the 3 is gone. Either Ja, Jaren, or Bane. Somebody has to be gone because you got to build a roster around this team. And if you want to know who, you can DM me on Twitter because I ain't saying
no. We ain't doing that. No, whoa. That's why you got me on this podcast. Who are you picking? Because I joined the hot seat.
Really? So here's my thing.
I ain't gonna put my ball on the fire and not go with them.
So here's my thing. I am open to any of them as long as the roster construction makes sense. So I'll go through each scenario. Personally, I don't think Ja and Jaren's a good mix. I don't think so. I think that Ja needs a big man that is going to take some, either be a pick and roller or a pick and popper or both. I think he needs that to do well. Jaren is not a pick and roll player. Jaren needs the ball in his hands to get going offensively, which is okay. I'm not saying me saying trade any of them is not discrediting any of those players.
Right.
I think it's a weird fit. After watching them for several years, I think it's a weird fit for what you want Ja to do or what Ja's good at and what Jaren is good at. I think that's both of them. If you keep Ja, you can keep Bane. I think you can make that happen. If you keep Jaren, you can keep Bane. I think you can make that happen. But I think that both of them together Jaren only plays one position. He don't play the 5. He don't do that. Ja can go off ball and play a 2 guard because you can put him in the corner to do lives. You can have Scotty running point. You've had Tyus running point with Ja, so you can make that happen. Jaren does not have any offensive versatility to play multiple positions, and on defense as well too. Defense, he's a 4. He's not a 5. That's what he's like AD, but he ain't got AD's cachet to be making demands like that. Bane, to your point earlier, he's not an all-star player. He's just not. He's not worth that. I'm not saying he's not worth the money, but you got to follow the money and what you're investing in your organization. And I would be okay if they said, you know what, Bane, we can't validate paying you this money if you're not going to be an all-star caliber player. So we're going to move you somewhere else where you might flourish in that particular role as an all-star caliber player. I think they keep Bane and they figure out is it gonna be 12 or 13. That's what I think.
I'm with you.
Now what I would do is differently, but what I think they would do if they made a move is you gotta decide between Ja and Jaren. And I can't say who because I feel like Jaren does a lot of good for the city, does a lot of good for the NBA, and it's overall a good soldier. I wouldn't be mad at them keeping Jaren. At the same time, if you trade Ja and you Memphis, that's a death blow to the city. It's hard, but it's time to get uncomfortable, ladies and gentlemen. It was hard for the Thunder to trade James Harden, but you got it. You have to take those chances in order to see yourself step forward. You have to. The Thunder have done it several times. Paul George, Melo, they just make sure they had Russell Westbrook trade. Like they do shit, and eventually they get to where they need to get to. So, I got y'all thinking.
I'm not trading the superstar. That is Ja Morant, regardless, because I really do feel like he's gonna have his redemption story sooner.
I agree with that.
And I don't necessarily want to trade Jaren, but seeing how he will eventually be the highest paid player on the team, and he can only play one position, I think there's more value in Jaren. It's kind of like with me saying you can trade Chef for Kevin Durant, right? You can trade Jaren for something and get worse defensively, but you can get the better flow, a better player to fit with this offense. And like I said, the fact that I don't see too many pick and rolls with Ja and Jaren. And the fact that, again, even though Jaren got 7 rebounds tonight at halftime, well, it was halftime last halftime, thank God. But you got to hold your breath for that to happen. And for you to be 6'11", 7 foot, that's effort. Like, you're becoming better offensively. For sure, you got a DPOY, so your contract going to be, a little better. There's value in that. But do I see you fitting long-term with this Grizz team, especially because you got a Zach Edey who you should be playing more? I think Jaren should be the more expendable. You can post this, and we can have all the Grizz Twitter trolls. We ready for y'all. But if it's, what I'm saying. But if I can see trade Bane because again, there's value in shooting nowadays. But then again, you need shooting in today's NBA. And I know he's having a down season now, but we've seen what he can do when it's on. Do you really want to get rid of that? I'll take my chances finding options for Jaren. Maybe you can actually find a small forward that we've been needing since Rudy Gay. Who knows?
Or you can maximize what you got in Zach Edey and let him play center and put Gigi at the 4. And Gigi don't need the ball. Saying he can catch and shoot. And
then you commit to like a younger thing, which again, if you look at the more, it's not though when you got a team like the Pistons that got the perfect mixture of youth and veteranship, and it's working. With a team like OKC, you got the perfect mix of youth and veteranship. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got no veterans on this team.
I think if you trade Jaren, then you can get that veteran leadership on that team. That's what I mean. Like you have to trade one of them to get veterans on the team, and the draft picks as well, depending on who you trade. I think Jaren can probably get draft picks. I'm not sure about Bane. I think Bane is a solid 2-3 option. But I think he's a Brad Beal kind of player. He's not gonna be a championship kind of player.
To the point we're talking about with veterans, let's go back to this other conversation. How old do you have to be considered a veteran? Ain't Jaren been in the league for about 7-8 years?
They veterans now. Honestly, you get second contract. You a veteran, dog.
Exactly. So I take that. But to answer the question, because man, we spilled.
Ain't no 25-year-old veterans, bro. Stop playing.
Who?
That's what Jaren.
They don't. How long you been in the league?
He's been in the league since he was 19, so it's our 6 years, 7 years damn near.
This is 7th year.
Yeah. We got to call him at some point. Well, what I'm saying is the question being asked is who has to go. I think it goes to who is your coach first.
Exactly.
You need to establish the culture of the coach, and that will tell you everything.
Yep.
However, hindsight, I don't know who the coach is. So I'm gonna say that I don't know who the coach is. I don't think you trade Ja. And the reason why I say I don't think you trade Ja is because his value is not as high as it was before everything he did. And so what you would receive for him, pre all the gun shooting and all that, it's not as much as right now.
True.
I would trade Jaren Jackson Jr. But I would sign him to his contract extension first and then trade him. So that you get $300+ million back in value for him. Whatever veteran older veteran or younger veteran that is for him. And then give these, if this is what you want, Climate, you want to get Gigi, you want to get the Vince Williams, you want to get all these other players, this gives them that shot to play that way. But I just don't think the return on investment for what Ja has been to the city and has been to this team is not the same as of at the end of this season, going into next season. That Ja Morant ain't gonna be that. That's not it. That's not what you want to say. Maybe second or third team All NBA Ja. That's not that guy right now. No. That could have been.
And that's another thing about the coaching. Before we move on, Isalo is the guy that has brought in the offense that is not necessarily attributed to Ja. I know that people are saying that Jenkins was running something different, but I'm like, still, like, he's in the room when this offense was happening. You know what I'm saying? I find it hard to believe that the offense isn't predicated on everybody else doing well, and not Ja by himself. So